All right, so like imagine robots doing your taxes. A and D leading your whole company.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of where things are headed. And today we're going to like deep dive into what that really means, for the future of leadership.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure.
Yeah, so to help us like unpack all this, we're looking at, does AI spell the end of overrated leadership by academic A students?
Okay.
By WaXhira, founder of the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood.
Now that's a title that grabs you.
I know, right?
And I gotta say, this piece, it's not your usual business analysis. It brings in some really interesting spiritual perspectives on leadership.
Yeah, and we should say up front, like, get ready for some serious aha moments.
For real.
But by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand not just what AI can do, but what human qualities become even more important.
Right, because it's not just about the tech, it's about how we adapt.
Totally.
Yeah.
So tell me about this Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood thing.
Yeah, so the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood, they draw inspiration from these ancient wisdom traditions, right? And they emphasize this idea of the interconnectedness of all things.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this idea is like central to how WaXhira approaches leadership.
I see.
They argue that, effective leadership, it's not just about hitting targets and maximizing profits.
Right, there's got to be more to it.
It's about understanding the broader impact of decisions on individuals, communities, even the planet.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like every choice has these ripple effects.
Totally. Now, WaXhira makes this really interesting distinction between management and leadership.
Okay, let's unpack that. What's
Right.
the key difference, especially with AI getting so sophisticated?
Well, think of it this way. AI is becoming so good at managing tasks.
Like what kinds of tasks?
Oh, scheduling appointments, analyzing data, optimizing processes, even generating reports.
Wow, it really is like having this super efficient assistant.
Right. It can handle a lot of what we used to think of as management.
Okay, so then where does human leadership fit in if AI can manage all that?
That's the key question, right? WaXhira says that while AI is great at managing tasks and keeping things in order, true leadership is about providing vision, purpose, inspiration.
Oh, I see. So like think Steve Jobs not just managing product launches, but inspiring a whole generation.
Exactly. He had that vision of how technology could transform lives.
So AI can support the managing part, but it's that human spark, the vision, that's true leadership.
Exactly. And WaXhira goes even deeper, linking this ability to inspire to what they call spiritual insight.
Okay, hold on. Spiritual insight. What does that even mean?
Well, it's about seeing beyond just the immediate stuff, right?
Uh,
Like recognizing patterns and connections that others miss and making decisions that serve a greater good.
So it's not like leaders or fortune tellers or something.
No, no,
like-
no. It's about having this deep understanding of how things are connected.
I see. And making choices that align with like a bigger purpose.
Exactly. And this is where their critique of A students as leaders comes in.
Oh yeah, that straight A students don't always make the best leaders. What's the connection there?
Well, WaXhira isn't saying education or hard work are bad,
Right.
but just acing tests doesn't automatically make you a great leader.
That's true.
Traditional education often rewards conformity analytical thinking, but leadership needs creativity, adaptability thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I've met brilliant people who just couldn't translate that into leadership.
It's like a paradox, right? Succeeding in the system can make it hard to reimagine the system.
Totally. So what do S students lack specifically when it comes to leadership?
Well, WaXhira highlights a few things first. They're often conditioned to follow rules, seek approval from authority,
Yep.
which makes them less likely to challenge things or take risks.
Makes sense.
And leadership often requires disrupting conventional thinking, forging new paths.
Right. You got to be willing to shake things up.
Exactly. And also traditional education emphasizes individual achievement,
Uh-huh.
which can actually hinder leadership qualities like collaboration, empathy, inspiring others.
So book smarts are great, but not the whole picture.
Right. WaXhira's perspective challenges us to broaden our definition of effective leadership.
I like that it's like saying the best leaders might not be the ones who always played by the rules.
Exactly. They might be the ones who rewrote the rules, and that's a really powerful idea.
So are we missing out on a ton of potential leaders because they don't fit the hold?
It's a good question. And as AI becomes more prominent, finding and nurturing this new kind of leadership will be crucial.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how does this spiritual insight thing play into all of this, especially with AI changing everything?
Well, that's a great question, and one we should definitely explore further.
Okay, so let's dig into that after a quick break.
So we were talking about spiritual insight and how it connects to leadership in this AI world.
Right, because it seems like AI could end up handling a lot of what leaders used to do.
It could, and WaXhira actually argues that makes human leadership even more important.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought the opposite.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive, but think about it as AI takes over those routine analytical tasks. It frees up human leaders to focus on things AI can't replicate.
Okay, I'm listening. Like, what specifically? What can't AI do?
Well, all those qualities we talked about, vision, inspiration, ethical decision-making,
Right.
understanding how everything's connected, creating a sense of purpose for teams.
That stuff is definitely human.
Exactly. Those are deeply human qualities that need emotional intelligence, empathy, understanding people.
Yeah, I mean, AI can crunch numbers and make predictions,
Sure.
but it can't really get human emotions or motivations the way a person can.
And that's key, right? WaXhira is saying that in a world where AI handles the what and the how, leaders need to focus on the why.
Exactly. It's not just about getting things done efficiently, it's about the deeper purpose behind the work.
And inspiring people to connect to that purpose.
Exactly. It needs a level of awareness and insight that goes way beyond just data or algorithms.
Okay, so it's tapping into that interconnectedness thing again, making decisions that don't just help your company, but also help people and the planet.
Precisely. And you know what's interesting?
This aligns with a lot of trends we're seeing in business these days. Purpose-driven leadership, conscious capitalism, businesses being forces for good.
It's like everyone's realizing that leadership needs to be about more than just profit.
Right, and that's exactly what WaXhira is saying. We need a level of awareness and responsibility that goes beyond just business as usual.
So AI is kind of pushing us to evolve our definition of what a good leader is.
I think so. It's not enough to be efficient or profitable anymore. We need leaders who can guide us toward a better future.
A future that's sustainable and meaningful.
Exactly, and that brings up a big question. Who will these leaders be? Where will they come from?
Yeah, because WaXhira already said students aren't always the best fit.
Right, and they go even further than that.
Well,
They believe that the leaders of the future, they'll be people who have had diverse experiences who've challenged conventional thinking.
I see. So not necessarily the rule followers or the people who always sought approval.
Not necessarily. They might be the ones who questioned things, took risks, learned from their failures.
Interesting. So maybe we've got the wrong idea about what leadership potential looks like.
Possibly we might be overlooking a lot of talent because people don't fit the old mold.
Okay, so as we move further into this AI age, how do we find and nurture these new leaders?
Well, WaXhira highlights a few key areas, things to look for.
Like what?
First, emotional intelligence. The ability to understand and manage your own emotions and navigate social situations.
Because even with AI, relationships and how people interact are still going to be super important.
For sure, another crucial quality is adaptability and resilience.
Because, let's face it, the world is changing so fast.
It is technology, global interconnectedness, it's all happening at warp speed.
So leaders need to be able to adapt quickly, be open to new ideas, bounce back from setbacks.
Exactly. It's about being a lifelong learner, always evolving and taking on new challenges.
Okay, so what else? Besides being adaptable and emotionally intelligent.
WaXhira also stresses integrity and a strong ethical compass.
Especially as AI gets more powerful.
Especially then, leaders need to make sure their decisions aren't just effective, but ethically sound, considering everyone they impact.
That's huge because we're already seeing issues with bias in some AI systems.
We are. It's in hiring, loans, even criminal justice, and it's a serious problem.
So adopting AI isn't enough. We have to do it responsibly and thoughtfully, thinking about the impact on people and society.
Absolutely. And again, that's where this idea of spiritual insight comes in.
Yeah.
It's about seeing AI not just as a tool for getting ahead, but as something that has huge ethical implications.
Yeah, it's not just about achieving goals. It's about creating a future that works for everyone.
A future that benefits all of humanity, not just a few.
Exactly. And so as we wrap up looking at WaXhira's work,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that the future of leadership in this AI age is still being written.
Totally. There are so many unknowns, so many challenges, but also so many opportunities.
To create a future where technology and human ingenuity work together.
I love that idea of co-creation. It's not us versus machines. It's about finding ways to use each other's strengths.
To achieve something amazing, something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And I think WaXhira gives us a good starting point for this whole co-creative process.
Yeah, reminding us about vision, purpose, ethical awareness, and that interconnectedness that they call spiritual insight. So as we go into this new era of AI-driven leadership, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
I think the first one is remembering that AI is a tool. It can be used for good or bad.
Right, like any powerful tool.
Exactly. And it's up to us as leaders to make sure it's used in a way that aligns with our values.
And serves the greater good.
Exactly. We can't just hand over our decision-making to algorithms. We have to actively shape how AI is used.
I think that sense of responsibility is more important than ever.
Absolutely. The second takeaway, I think, is that leadership isn't fixed. It's always changing, adapting to new situations.
So in the age of AI, we need to be open to new ideas about leadership.
Right. Embracing things like adaptability, emotional intelligence, ethical awareness.
It's about being a lifelong learner, constantly growing and understanding ourselves and the world better.
And the role we play in shaping the future.
I like that.
And finally, I think the most important thing is that leadership isn't about power or control. It's about service.
Service.
Yeah, it's about using our skills, our knowledge, our influence to make the world a better place.
Just more sustainable, more fulfilling for everyone.
That's the idea. Leadership as service, guided by an understanding of how we're all connected and a commitment to using our intelligence to create a future that's worthy of our best selves.
I love that that's a powerful message.
It is, and as AI keeps changing our world, I think this kind of leadership will be more crucial than ever.
Well, that's definitely something to think about.
It is, and to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to keep exploring these ideas and to think about how you can embody the kind of leadership that will help us navigate this uncharted territory of the AI age.
Yeah. This is just the beginning of the conversation, and we hope you'll join us as we keep exploring what it means to lead in a world that's being transformed by AI. So we've talked about the good stuff, the potential of AI to, change leadership.
Right.
But what about the downsides? What challenges could come up as AI gets more involved in how we make decisions?
Well, one thing WaXhira worries about is becoming too reliant on AI,
Okay.
and then human intuition and critical thinking could decline.
Well, so it's like we get lazy because the algorithms are doing all the thinking for us.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
If we just depend on algorithms to make choices,
Mm.
we might lose those human skills that are really important for good leadership.
Like it's that sci-fi thing where humans get so used to tech they can't function without it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, X, you're saying don't just blindly follow AI recommendations. We
Yeah.
have to keep thinking critically, ask questions, consider the consequences.
Even if it goes against what the AI is saying.
Even then, sometimes our judgment might be better.
So it's about finding that balance using AI, but not letting it take over.
Exactly. Leverage its strengths, but know its limits and keep our own human judgment sharp.
That makes sense. What else? What other challenges did WaXhira talk about?
Well, another big one is bias in AI algorithms.
Right.
AI systems, they learn from tons of data.
Yeah.
And if that data has biases built in,
Uh-huh.
the AI will just keep repeating those biases in its decisions.
Oh, I see. And we've already seen that happening.
We have, in hiring loans, even criminal justice.
It's scary to think that AI could make things even more unfair.
It could, and that's why leaders need to be really aware of these biases
Yeah.
and make sure AI is being developed and used fairly.
So it's not just about using AI, it's about using it ethically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thinking about the impact on everyone, not just a few.
And I guess this is where that spiritual insight comes in again.
It does. Leaders can't just see AI as a tool for efficiency.
Right.
They have to think about the ethical implications, too.
So leadership isn't just about reaching goals, it's about building a future that's good for everyone.
A future we can all feel good about, not just a select few.
And I think that's what WaXhira is really getting at.
Yeah, the future of leadership in this AI age, it's still being figured out.
Totally. There are so many questions and challenges.
There are, but also so many opportunities to do things differently.
To build a future where technology and human smarts work together.
Yeah, that's the key: co-creation, using the best of both worlds.
Not humans versus machines, but humans and machines working towards something amazing.
Exactly, and I think WaXhira's work gives us a good framework for how to do that.
Yeah, reminding us about vision, purpose,
Yeah.
ethical awareness, and that deeper understanding of interconnectedness.
Right, that's what they call spiritual insight.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, what are some big things our listeners can take away?
Well, I think the first thing is just remembering that AI is a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways.
It all depends on the human using it.
Exactly. And as leaders, we have to make sure AI is being used for good.
To make the world a better place, not a worse one.
Right. We can't just let the algorithms run things. We have to be in charge.
That sense of responsibility is so crucial.
It is. And the second takeaway, I think, is that leadership isn't a one-size-fits-all thing.
Okay.
It's always changing, growing, adapting to new challenges.
So in the age of AI, We need to be open to new ideas about what leadership looks like.
Exactly. We have to embrace things like adaptability, emotional intelligence, ethical awareness.
It's about being open to learning new things, always growing and understanding ourselves and the world better.
Absolutely. And the role we play in shaping things.
I like that.
Yeah.
And is there a final takeaway?
I think the most important one is this. Leadership isn't about being in control or having power.
And what is it about?
It's about service.
Service. What do you mean by that?
It's about using our skills, our knowledge, our influence to make the world a better place.
So it's not about getting ahead. It's about lifting others up.
Exactly. Leadership as service. That's the idea.
And I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I think so too.
Using our intelligence and this incredible technology to create a future where everyone can thrive.
A future that honors our values and respects our planet.
That's a vision worth striving for.
It is. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you for being here and for engaging with these important ideas.
We hope you'll keep exploring these questions and keep thinking about the kind of leader you want to be in this amazing new world we're creating.
Because ultimately, it's up to all of us to shape the future of leadership in the age of AI.